Welcome and thank you for listening to another video by Bayloric TV Boxing Channel. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, retweet it, share it. I appreciate it. It all helps. So, you've come here to hear my thoughts on David Haye. You probably heard all my thoughts beforehand. The latest news is that on November the 24th, yes, November the 24th, next Tuesday, David Haye will be making a press conference in London, or having a press conference in London to announce his comeback opponent. Ironically, that weekend, the 28th, Tyson Fury fights Klitschko. So, there are a lot of names that have been thrown around, and I mentioned beforehand, I think Tony Bellew is a great name, and the sort of thing David Haye would do in terms of commercial jumping on the bandwagon. You know, he's good at stuff like that. Bellew's name made mainly because of the Creed thing. I'm not knocking what Bellew's done as a professional boxer, but of course, you obviously in a wider audience if you're in a Rocky movie or anything to do with Rocky. Sylvester Stallone I'm talking about. So, while Bellew has that movie status, I think it'd be good for Mr. Haye to jump on that. And maybe even, who knows, if the Masnick fight got cancelled, I don't know, I don't think it'd get cancelled. But if it did get cancelled, then Bellew would be the opponent. And it'd be an interesting fight until David lands. You know, I think Bellew is a decent cruiserweight. I think if he moves up to heavyweight, he'll be even slower. And David is fast as he is, and you know, I think he connects pretty quickly on Bellew, to be honest. Interesting fight, I think, because obviously both guys can talk, and they'll talk it up and talk it up and talk it up. But before we even talk about David Haye and back in the ring and fighting and whether he's going to be good enough, there's a few obstacles I believe the Haymaker is going to have to overcome. Obstacle number one, as I mentioned on Twitter, is the boxing media going to open their arms up to David? We've been here before. The press conference, the announcement. Manwal Shah, the announcement. Remember that announcement? And ticket sales didn't go well. That's what I heard. Ticket sales didn't go well. And then we had the David Haye injury with the hand. And then, before we knew it, I said Tyson Fury would be announced. And what do you know? Hey presto, David recovers, and we had a Tyson Fury fight. Bigger money, ticket sales would have been booming, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Question number one is, if ticket sales don't go the way the Haymaker wants it to go, would he pull out of the fight? That's the first test. And if the ticket sales are low, will there be another injury? Those are two big points there. Third point, the fans, are they going to be willing to dedicate and pay to see David Haye fight again? I believe the fight will be at the O2 Arena. That's what I hear. Will the fans be dedicated to see David Haye fight again without them first having a guarantee that David is actually going to fight again? 4, David's motivation to coming back. Is he coming back because he genuinely wants to become heavyweight champion of the world? Or is he in it now, as Derek Chisora would put it, for the money? You know, when you are chasing a dream to become heavyweight champion of the world, you wanted to chase it since you were a child, that's one thing. But now you're a grown adult, you've achieved your dreams, you've seen you can have an easier lifestyle doing something else. Does that burning desire of David Haye, is the will of David Haye to come back and genuinely become a world champion again? Does he really fancy taking punches of big, strong heavyweights at 35 years old, having been in the comfort zone for the last 3 to 4 years of his career? And even if he comes back, I don't believe David Haye can come back and be better than he was at 30 years old or 32. I just can't believe it. I'm sorry. 35 years old, you're not going to be any faster. Your reflexes are not going to be any quicker. I don't believe you're going to hit any harder. But what I do believe is that you may be wiser in the sport. But being wise and David Haye probably don't bode very well because of what has happened with the fans in the past and the previous history of fans not trusting him in fights. So, ticket sales, TV deals, are Sky going to want David back on their platform again? Will Box Nation trust David Haye? Can they afford to have more cancellations with this guy? What sort of a reputation has David Haye got now in 2015 with the likes of Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Tyson Fury? Should he become world heavyweight champion? What happens there? Where does he fit into this mix? What is his marketability like now in 2015? As my good friend on Twitter said to me, Louis Gavin said to me, David Haye has got casual fans. He's always had casual fans. But to the boxing purists, those fans that dug into their pockets and didn't get refunded for hotels and for the Fury fight, the 2 Fury pullouts and the Char fight and the, let's go back to the Vitaly Klitschko fight, those pullouts. It's not just 1 pullout. It's not 2 pullouts. It's not even 3 pullouts. Are fans going to be forgiving? Are fans prepared to dig deep in their pockets again to support the David Haye comeback and the David Haye trail? Are fans prepared to give this man another chance? And if he does pull out of the injury this time, and let's say this injury is genuine, a real genuine injury, not because of ticket sales or something else, I don't know. I welcome David Haye back into the heavyweight division. It's not about me who opens the door for David Haye to be back in the heavyweight division. It's just, what kind of reception is he going to get from the boxing media? It seems David Haye, with a lot of people, they're stuck in time. They're thinking back to David Haye when he fought Audley Harrison. David Haye who fought Valuev. David Haye who fought with John McCormick. David Haye's 35 years old now. And they say age is nothing but a number. Been in an athlete's career. What has he been doing in the last 3 years? Has he really been looking after his body? I've seen David Haye's weight up and down fluctuate as outside of the ring. So was he building his body back up to fight and then got pulled out, or what happened? What was going on in the 3-year period? Hopefully, journalists will ask him questions and drill David hard, because journalists have to drill David hard now. The simple reason is he needs to get the trust back by the boxing fans and the paying public. So journalists need to really stick to their guns, ask the hard questions, and find out, does David Haye really genuinely want to become heavyweight champion of the world? And no ducking of questions, no avoiding questions, because he's not in a position to duck questions. Really. Not really. Not when you're asking the paying public to take money out again. It's not good. I don't think that Haye should be given that sort of excuse to say, well, I'm David Haye. I was former world heavyweight champion. I was former undisputed cruiserweight champion, which he wasn't. Now, this isn't hate. This is just considering others and considering those people, the paying public. If you're sitting at home and you're getting to watch David Haye via a laptop and a stream, which is, via some other streaming way, then you're not affected. But if you actually had to pay, I didn't have to pay to go and see David Haye fight. But what I'm saying is, I do care about other people. I'm not so boxed in like a lot of boxing fans that sit on the internet and watch fights, that don't care about others. I do care about others, and I do understand the pain that many boxing fans went through. And not boxing fans, fighters that set up training camps thinking they were going to get the biggest payday, only to be pulled out on at the last moment. Not on. So, you know where I stand with this. Yes, it's great to have David Haye back. I like David Haye for what he brings to the sport in terms of his fighting, his punching power, his ability when he's actually active and fighting. The rest of it, I don't care for. He's done great for the sport in terms of being I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. He does stuff like that. That's great for selling the sport of boxing and bringing new fans to the sport of boxing. But it doesn't help if you don't fight and you pull out. It doesn't do well for our sport. It doesn't bode well for our sport. So, memories of David Haye. The last memories of me was him blowing out of his ass, wearing a pair of sneakers against Derek Chisora in Old Trafford. Not Old Trafford, at West Ham football ground. Where did Old Trafford come from? West Ham football ground. I remember that. That was the last time I saw David Haye in a boxing ring. And I think it's that memory boxing fans need to remember. And not the glory days gone past with Enzo Macronelli and John McMormitt, or even the Valuev fight, or even the Fraudley fight. Those are my thoughts. Harsh it may be, but I just think I'm speaking my truth. Would love to hear what you think. I'm out.